touch her and tell her I love you. I pleaded and begged her to stay, but it didn't matter, 'cause she didn't hear me.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Psychic Eric here. Yeah, it's a little bit of a different location in the apartment. We're in my kitchen where all the vegetables get cut and the food gets cooking, and we have Timothy Bottoms staring you down. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Roller Coaster, but it's kind of a crazy flick. But without my knowledge going into it, I didn't know there was a Sparks cameo, the band Sparks. Did not expect that in the least, seeing them there. So it's kind of notorious for that. And also having I think, 13-year-old Helen Hunt. It's like her first film or something like that. So kind of wild. The whole film's great except like the last minute or so. Yeah, the final kill's kind of a letdown, but makes sense though. Anyways, might talk a little bit before I show any records, but got a lot to share, man. Well, first off, I'm just doing this in a different location just because I wanted to, first off, but secondly, I've been trying to make my Kansas City trip video, as you guys may or may not know. I posted about it here on YouTube on the community tab, and yeah, I've tried updating, installing, uninstalling, updating my phone, and it's been kind of crashing on me lately too, like on different videos, like the trip videos. And I feel like maybe it's just getting overloaded with, the usage of GIFs and all these photos and clips I'm using. Like maybe the system's getting overloaded, but I'm always deleting from my storage and permanently deleting stuff once I upload them, so I don't know what's really causing the issue, because I only put like 2 video clips in, 2 or 3 of my Kansas trip, and so it's like 5 minutes long and it still crashes on me, so I don't know what the scoop is. I've even installed different video editing apps and they still crash. So, but the weird thing is, and maybe it has to do with the video files or something, because as you guys know, last night or yesterday morning, I uploaded my open mic video, and it was just moving really smooth as normal. So I don't know what the scoop is. It's like once I slide over the clips, it just crashes immediately. So hopefully it doesn't become a recurring problem, but we're going to see how this one turns out. And I think these kind of videos will still work, but as far as like my going batshit crazy videos with the trip videos and anything else I do kind of wild, it's just going to have to be on the back burner for a little bit, maybe. So I'm going to see what I can do about it. But anyways, got a very diverse mix here. A lot of stuff catching up on. I have like a very small stack, like kind of like this, more to share after this one. And then I should be caught up, because then I just have to share my Kansas City haul, which is like probably 15 LPs. Didn't find any 45s this time, but it was a very fun trip, but weather-wise, really sucked. I will say that, because there's several electrical storms. It was very windy, and I was in the midst of it. I just left Josie Records, and I just saw this whole wave of like dark clouds. It looked like it was almost nighttime. It was so dark, and it was like 3:30 in the afternoon. But I was even driving up a hill, and the street was still flooded. I didn't get stuck or anything. I was on the interstate momentarily, and the rain was so thick it was like fog. It was pretty nasty stuff. Like probably the top 5 or 10 worst storms I ever drove through, and that is a fact. But yeah, even coming back from Kansas too, almost on the border of Nebraska, I was facing another storm as well, and I had to pull off the side of the road. So yeah, it just weather-wise was not fun, but you know how the days go flying by. I hit the majority of the record shops, and most of them were pretty cool. The only letdown I was kind of bothered with maybe was that the record shop owners weren't very sociable. You know, I kind of like talking to some of the owners when I go into these places, and I get it. I kind of like, it's kind of a love-hate thing. Like, I do like when they kind of leave the customer alone, you know, unless they say, let me know if you need help finding something. But I don't know. It just felt like like I was bugging them or something. Maybe it was just because I was taking pictures and video. I don't know. I just got that vibe. I don't know if that was what the case was or anything. But 5 minutes in, let's start showing some records. I won't try to keep you here too long, but we'll see how this goes. So this is, yeah, like I said, very, very mixed bag of things. So these first two are online purchases, and this is a brand new reissue I picked up. This is Cinethesia. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is one I've been wanting a very long time. It's famously kind of bootlegged, once again. I think the only legitimate, quote-unquote, legitimate reissue that came out of this was like Sunbeam, back in like 2006, I think, so it was definitely in need of a repress. You just never see them pop up, and I think this was originally on RCA Victor. Didn't sell very well at all, and this is like a progressive folk record, but it's got like this kind of jazzy dressing over top of it with the different use of instrumentation going on. Only 3 members, and these guys were out of London area. Right alongside, you know, groups like Comus or Incredible String Band, Cobb, COB, Clive's original band. Kind of in that vein. It's very much off the grid, kind of minimal folk thing going on here, and I love it. The fact there's only 3 members here is kind of surprising too, considering all that they play. You got stuff like alto, soprano sax, you got vibraphone, which is like one of the better key elements here. You got flute, the oboe, bongos, which is like the most percussive they get on here. It's not very heavy effort. It's very much minimal, kind of, but also very like fairy tale, folklore-like type of songwriting. Very much inspired by like Roman folklore, which is kind of cool. Got some nice liner notes here as well by Stephen Krakow, who I did meet once in Chicago. I saw his pad. It was kind of crazy. But got very good info here. Got a little promotional ad as well, if you can pronounce it. I think it says, if you can pronounce it, you'll buy it. Cinethesia. I think that's how you pronounce it. I forget where the name originates from, but I think it listed in here. These guys played, of course, some gigs with Pink Floyd, and also John Lee Hooker was another gig that they played with. And so it got some cool connections here, cool backstory, so definitely want to investigate. Won't keep you too long on this one, but track to kind of sink your teeth in are definitely like the first 3 tracks. Peak Strangely and Worried Evening. It's kind of the one that lured me in initially when I first gave it a listen years ago. Black Vinyl. Guerssen, kicking it up as of late, as I've explained, with the Andromeda. And there you go. And of course this did cost, I did pay a little out of pocket. I did the whole pay in 4 from PayPal, which is a very good way to get these sort of like brand new reissues, because paying straight up $40, not really a fan of that. So as far as an original copy I picked up, this is one I've been eyeing for a long time this year. Always keeping an eye on this online on my saved searches. Seldom pops up anymore. It used to be like a $40 record, and I should have bought it at that price when I spotted it. But I'm beginning more and more to get into the sort of style, you know. I've probably explained it in past videos. Really loving that kind of cosmic country rock stuff from the late 60s, early 70s. And this is Plain Jane. Very crisp copy here on the Hobbit label. Came out in 1969. One of the very few records on the label, of course. Love that design. I think these guys were based out of maybe Nevada, I think I read, or somewhere on the West Coast, I think. Yeah, primarily folk rock driven, of course, but of course being from the late 60s, obviously some natural, kind of psychedelic flourishes throughout. Not so much like sound effects wise, but very much kind of soaked in that Hammond organ, lots of reverb, kind of a dreamy sound throughout, but also some catchy pop tunes. The steam kind of lets off on side 2, I'd say. It gets a little more on the rural side, like straightforward kind of rural bits, but still really good. I still dig Fire Hydrant, if you guys know that track. The only weak moment for me is the last track, Mrs. Q. It's kind of a weird chord progression that they're using, and I don't really dig the closer, but otherwise, some other standouts, Not the Same is really good, and it kind of reminds me, some moments in here remind me of like Strawberry Alarm Clock's last LP, Good Morning Starshine, those kind of dreamy organ ballads that they do. Kind of in a similar vein as this. They do a track called Short Fairy Tale, gets a little jazzy. And then probably the most notable track, You Can't Make It Alone, was featured on a Numero Group comp, Wayfaring Stranger, one of the Cosmic Americana country rock compilations. So very cool, and I think it was featured in some Netflix series called Good Girls. I don't even watch Netflix anymore, but very cool. Puke Green label. That's not really puke green, but yeah, man, I really dig this record. This is a beautiful copy. I found it on Discogs. I think it was priced at like 60 or make offer. I think I made the offer for like 50, and they bit. So, thank goodness. So with these next 3 here, these are the remainder from the Sioux Falls trip. So we're going back a ways. Back when I got that Pink Floyd single, the It Would Be So Nice promo. Well, these first 2 are from a different place. This is from a place called Crosstown Vinyl. And I was in there one other time, and I don't think I came out with anything last time. But thankfully came out with a couple cheap essentials that have been lacking for a long time. This is the American Metaphysical Circus, Joe Bird and the Field Hippies, 1969. This is like an early pressing from like 1970. It's not the first press, which is, I guess, pretty scarce as far as like finding a clean copy on that like gray Masterworks label. This is, yeah, like I said, 1970 with the orange font. Yeah, if you know United States of America, it's very much connected to that with Joe Bird. And he's got kind of a more extended crew on this record, maybe more prominent on the brass section, more of a sound collage than the previous, but overall pretty strong. It's pretty close to par with the first one, but I'd say the first 3 tracks, which are like a suite, the Sub-Civilian Latines, I don't know. Those first 3 tracks really blend together really well, start off really strong. Some say it might kind of swerve downward from there, but I'd say the first 2 tracks on like side 2 are like the weakest cuts, gospel music and the sing-along song. You can about imagine what those sound like, but overall, I mean, pretty innovative. I mean, he's got some cool ideas working throughout here, and again, very socially political kind of satire working through the lyrics, which was also evident on the first one as well. So very much a time period piece. It's very cool. You got vocoder effects, kind of these Tweety Bird synthesizers circulating throughout. Most famous for the track You Can't Ever Come Down, but I love the one after it, Moon Song, P-Log. That one's really good. It's got some very angelic, soaring vocals. Got a little bit of harpsichord. Gives me some very Sagittarius, Kurt Bedger kind of vibes. Really good. Just listened to this one today again, actually, and this is from the same shop, The Poppers, Ellis Island. I didn't get it for $4, but I got it in the vintage vinyl sleeve. I got the previous one and this one for like $10. And like I said, I've been hunting these 2 down for a long time. it was always the condition, but also the prices. I'd see these for like 20 and up, and I was like, nah, I can get them cheaper. I'm gonna wait. And I'd always see the poppers, you know, for like 10 bucks, but it'd always be like water damaged or have some serious gashes in the vinyl. And this one's about perfect. This is super nice copy. It's just got the punch hole. Verb Forecast, and I used to have Magic people buy these guys, but I gotta say this is like a step up for me, this one. I think they definitely, you know, kind of found their craft with this one. Got a little more serious about it, whereas like the previous was a little more poppy. This one gets a little slightly progressive, like in a good way. They got some of their heaviest tracks on here. South Down Road opens the album. The middle track, Numbers, and I think it's Ask Her Again was the other one. It's got some, it's kind of a slow burning heavy track, but really nice guitar work, nice percussive rhythm section, and just overall vibe. There is one track on here, I always forget which one it is. I think it's Oh That She Might. I think that's the one. I'm gonna put that in the intro here if I can. It's probably my favorite off of here. It's kind of a Federal Duck-like. It's got kind of this jazzy pop element going throughout, but it's also got this cool effect with the backward reverb. You hear the reverb at first, and then the vocals come in. I love that sound effect, and it just really works there. It's very dreamy, very floaty, pop psych. Love this record. This is a good one. And it does come with the cool insert. I love this photo, by the way. I would love to be seated in that little auditorium or wherever they're playing. So this is like a flip book. You can cut these out. Very specific instructions as well. It says, you know, take your sharpest scissor and cut along the solid lines. Don't cut along the dotted lines or you'll screw up the whole thing. That's what they're saying to you. I'm telling you very strictly, very straightforward. Do not cut on those dotted lines, boy. But I've always loved the Verb Forecast label too. It's just like, it's a very simple, very stark label, but something about it just kind of gives you a kind of a warm feeling about it, knowing that it's on Forecast. Then this last one here from Sioux Falls, this is one I picked up along with the Pink Floyd single. And I got a good deal on this. I had seen this online sell for big bucks, and I was like, really? It's 15? Because I found this for 15. And the condition, sleeve-wise, is not the best. The record's about VG, plays better, but I guess the front don't look too bad. But this is Sod. Had no idea what this was stylistically, but I knew it was kind of in the rock realm, at least. And just judging by the number of musicians on the back, is probably like, yeah, it's probably a jazz rock thing. And it's kind of more, not so much jazz rock, but kind of more on the funk rock side. A lot more funky elements moving throughout, marinating in like kind of a psychedelic soul vibe. It gives me a lot of like Blood, Sweat, and Tears vibe on like their first album. It's very much in the similar vein as that. Very good at their craft. I think they had maybe a couple albums after this. I couldn't tell you offhand, but I hadn't listened to this since I got it, but I do remember it being very, very funky, like opening up. There's a track called Too Loose to Get Tight, part 1 and 2. Both go together, and got some nice tasteful flute, I remember, and some breakbeat stuff. And then there was a track on side 2, opens up with Here. It's probably the most different track on this whole disc, but because there's like no brass section, because there is horns in this, but it gets very horny, but it's not like over the top or like distracting. But the track Here is really good. I think it has some like harpsichord. It's kind of a folky acoustic thing going on with some nice harmonies. Really remember liking it. So I think it sells for pretty good bucks too online. I think maybe the median price, I'm guessing, was like 125-ish. Goes for good bucks online. So for 15, I was like, I'm taking this. I kind of like the simplicity of the label as well. Just how it just says Sod Decca. I don't know if sod stands for anything. Don't remember. It doesn't look like they point out anything on the back. So yeah, I think a lot of you guys will enjoy this though if you like that kind of funk rock side of things with some psych soul flourishes with some horns, really strong, really good. This next one, this is one I just decided to throw in here. Nothing crazy. It's basically a $5 album, but Ian Matthews on the Vertigo label, and this is If You Saw Through My Eyes. I've been getting into Ian Matthews a little bit early on this year, and I saw this in like the $4 bin here at Vintage Vinyl, and I was like, I'll pick it up. It's on the Vertigo label. I'll take a swirly, you know. Get that swirl in there. Maybe I'll do this for like the screenshot. Make you guys guess what it is. Or just be kind of curious what it is in the video. Then just to find out it's an Ian Matthews record. But no, this one's pretty good. I do remember liking the one on Uni, which is one I need. What was the highlight off here? I think it's Little Known. I think that was the highlight off here, but I only spun this once. I gotta revisit it, but I kind of slept on this guy for a long time. I mean, I knew he was part of Fairport Convention and all, but it just took me a while to grasp on, you know, to get around to it, I guess. But not that I was really ignoring him, but I was like, well, if it's on the Vertigo label and it's $5, it's probably just nothing crazy, but can't always think that way in numbers. But this one, however, this was a 45 sort of piece that I've been really wanting for a long time and didn't want to pay the $60, and it's kind of why I don't purchase a lot of 45s, because it's like 2 songs that I really love and they're like $100, you know. But there's a seller on Instagram, Faces of Jade, who I'm just getting kind of turned on to. If you guys love psych and you love those kind of obscure stuff, he's selling some stuff for pretty good prices and pretty negotiable prices, and just happened to be peeking through like 5 minutes in on one of these posts he was making, and he was selling this for $20, and this was the score of the deal. And this is the B side, I think. This is the Oracle, Don't Say No. Definitely the highlight on here. I think this is the A side, The Night We Fell in Love, which is also not too bad. Also on Brew Forecast, and I forget who's in the group, but I do know that it's Kurt Betcher production. It may be like maybe the Ballroom under a synonym. I forget now, but I do know it's got that connection, and man, it's just one of the best sort of Middle Eastern psych pop bliss, man. This is great. Don't Say No. Promo copy. So really cool. For $20, I'll definitely pick it up for that. And this is VG Plus shape. Never seen it that low, so had to snatch it, man. Kind of curious what else to find in his future posts on Instagram. So anyways, still got that grail to share with you. Might be the next video, we'll see. Might do it this weekend. I don't have any weekend plans unless my college buddy responds, and if we do something, probably won't get a video in. But also I hope this video uploads as well. I mean, hopefully you don't have to make too many cuts, and because I think that's what it was. Maybe it was just too many cuts and transitions, but also maybe it's just the video files I was using, because I had my GPS on as I was kind of recording as well, so maybe it kind of screwed it up. I don't know. But yeah, check these all out, and let me know what you think of them. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in as always, and we shall see you soon.